You know, it's become a running joke around here how not too long ago I told anyone who'd listen not to underestimate one Chris Christie, how our perceived bully routine by the governor was in fact seen by so many authenticity-starved voters as a breath of fresh air. Man, was I wrong. Now, beyond the obvious haymaker to his reputation that was and is Bridgegate, this governor has confirmed that he is the very thing he swore he would never be, and that's a phony. From his self-professed love of Bruce Springsteen to the Jersey Shore, Christie never promised to be PC, but he swore he would always put his beloved Garden State above petty politics and by all means above personal agendas. Now, if you believe that, I've got a bridge for sale. Sorry, that was too easy. Now, remember how he championed pension reform? That was this breakthrough in bipartisanship that he spearheaded, and how with major concessions by labor, it was a sustainable way forward. Well, never mind. Christie went back on his signature issue and his word. And the same thing goes for the so-called New Jersey comeback. Remember all those commercials with Chris, Mary Pat, and the kids on the beach? Or those taxpayer-funded spots, I may add, that told us how great it was going and was going to be? Apparently, he never bothered to do his own math, because under his stewardship, New Jersey, unlike its neighbors, is actually doing worse, not better, and that the shortfalls in the state budget are bad enough to drive a CPA to drink. Even worse, it's hard to show Garden Staters what they actually got for their money. Now, set aside the bridge jokes. New Jersey, unlike New York and Connecticut, has done nothing to deal with its crumbling infrastructure. Christie has threatened veto on any project that raises a cent of revenue through taxes, even though his constituents in poll after poll support the idea, and it would actually save his state major dollars in inevitable improvements, to say nothing of the safety of the people he professes to love. Now, this all brings me to why. Now, enough armchair psychiatrists, they've analyzed the culture that Christie fostered, that at the very least created Bridgegate. I do find it rich that he's actually got the chutzpah now to demand an apology from us from that scandal, but leave that to the side. Now, the most offensive thing that Christie has done to the people he promised to serve is become the very thing he swore he despised, being a run-of-the-mill political phony. While seemingly setting up residents in New Hampshire and Iowa and God knows where else, he calculates every decision on New Jersey through his personal ambitions for 2016. Oppose Common Core? Why not? Offer an alternative? No way. Oppose raising revenue? Absolutely not. Close the budget gap? No clue. And the list, it goes on and on. But Garden Staters' patience, it turns out, doesn't. His one-time supporters give him thumbs down on not just running for president, but probably more telling is how he is performing in his own job. The self-titled most honest guy in the room needs to stop lying to himself, that he can win the presidency, and also that we haven't gotten wise to his act. All right, from New Jersey, we now go to messing with Texas. All right, let's start with Ted Cruz. Texas senator, he wants federal disaster relief money to deal with his state's terrible flooding. Makes sense, but it is interesting considering the source. He's the same guy who doesn't trust the federal government. He wants a much smaller federal government. Of course, that is until he needs the federal government. And don't forget, this is the same guy, Mr. Cruz, that voted against the relief money for Hurricane Sandy. Remember that when he is a candidate for president. Texas wants federal money. It also wants the gold being held at the Federal Reserve in New York. I can't make this stuff up. Former Governor Rick Perry is leading the charge to move the gold to a mini Fort Knox in Texas. Seems they don't trust it where it is. That's right, in the Empire State. And lawmakers in Texas, they want to legalize guns on college campuses. Teenagers, kegs of beer, parties, hormones, what could possibly go wrong? And remember Jade Helm? Well, that's the military exercise happening this summer in Texas, the U.S. military. By the way, it's going on in several of the states as well. But our friends in Texas, they've been flipping out about this thing. They are worried that the United States government is invading them. I swear I'm not embellishing this. So when you look to mess with Texas, there is more than a little bit to mess with. And this brings us to a broader and more serious point. You can't have 50 states And moreover, people who professing to be serious people who want to be president, let alone governors of that state, leading the state's conspiracy nuts on witch hunts. It's not healthy for Texas, it's not healthy for America, and it's not healthy for a democracy. Texas, you can do better. All right, coming up next, everyone, we're going to have our Hudson Valley headlines. Stay with us.